And the first thing he does tonight, this night, he goes to the temple courtyard and he overturns the tables of the money changers, and he says that what is going on in the courtyard of the temple is wrong. And all of us who are coming to Jerusalem for the great festival of Passover are coming to make our offerings to the temple. And we come from all the nations of the Mediterranean, and we bring the coin of our nations, and the temple will only accept Jewish coin, because Jewish coins do not have any graven image on them. Roman coins, for example, have the image of Caesar. Egyptian coins have the image of Pharaoh. And so the money needs to be changed. And then there are other reasons to come to the temple. Some of us have sins that need to be cleansed. And if we've sinned a little bit, we're going to buy a pigeon or a dove and make an offering. If we've sinned kind of medium, we're going to buy a lamb or a goat and make an offering. And then if we've sinned pretty good, we're going to buy an ox. And there will be a blood sacrifice that is made. And Jesus says, you've lost your sense of purpose. My Father's house is a house of prayer. You cannot buy God's forgiveness with a pigeon, a lamb, or an ox. And you have lost the credibility and the integrity of what faith is all about. And so Jesus comes into the city bringing enormous hope for what the vision of the nation might be, and walks right into the temple courtyard and creates chaos the first night. Pontius Pilate is made aware of it, but they stand down. But the chief priest, Caiaphas, is nervous, very nervous, because Jesus is popular. The people love him. He's talking about a God who actually cares about people's lives in a different way than anyone has ever mentioned before. He's talking about a personal God, a God who knows individuals, the challenges of their life, and who invites them to be the people God wants them to be, to experience freedom. For 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, this week, Jesus goes to the temple courtyard every day, and he sits and he teaches, and enormous crowds gather around him. And every day, scribes or Pharisees or priests come out and dialogue with him. They try to trick him. What's the most important law of all the 600 precepts? Jesus says, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, and your mind, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. And then they tell other stories. And you can see the worry building. The temple authorities, they're caught. They've got to save the nation, save the culture. But Jesus is bringing a message that has no fear. Either this is the moment when the nation will change, or something will happen. Thursday comes. That's Maundy Thursday this week. And he meets with his disciples. He shares the Passover meal, which is the beginning of our tradition of the Lord's Supper, Holy Communion, the Eucharist. And Thursday night, he retreats to the Garden of Gethsemane. Now, the temple priests know they've got to throttle, shut down what is going on, because Passover is coming at the end of the week. So about midnight, Thursday night, the temple sends its own guard to the Garden of Gethsemane, and Jesus is arrested. And in the middle of the night, he's taken to the house of the chief priest, Caiaphas, and he is questioned. Who are you? Are you the Son of God? Jesus says, you say that I am. And they go back and forth, and back and forth. And Jesus makes it clear that the house of God is no longer a house of prayer. It has become the center of authority and government and collecting taxes, and lost its meaning. It is no longer authentic. And of course, this is an enormous threat to the religious establishment. And they tell him, this is it. You're done. It's interesting the parallels in this story. If you can wrap your mind around what is going on, a town the size of Wallingford, North Main Street, Jesus coming in on a donkey, people excited, all kinds of folks coming with him. They've seen some of the things he has done, the word that he gives, the word of hope. We can be free. We no longer have to live in fear of our lives all the time. And coming up South Main Street, Pontius Pilate and the absolute power of the Mediterranean world behind him. You step out of line and you will die. And then you have, in the midst of this triangle, the temple authorities trying to preserve something of the Jewish heritage and history and religion, trying to save it. And you have the awesome power of Rome, military might, the awesome power of hope. And the two are going to march against each other. Not unlike some of what we are seeing unfolding in Libya today. In Gaddafi's Libya, you live by fear. You get out of line, you die. We do not understand this. We have no comprehension of that lifestyle because we live free. We have the blessings of a freedom that we cannot imagine. And Jesus calls every one of us. We too are the people who take the life of Christ in the center of the places where we live our lives. We are called to say the words that need to be said. We are called to speak the prophetic words. We are called to bring healing and understanding. We are called to live without fear, to say the right thing, to do the right thing, to follow our conscience and our faith. So this week, the incredible drama unfolds. And what happens as the week progresses is that the world changes forever. Forever, the world is made new because people glimpse what it means to live without fear, to live in God's light, to live in God's abundant blessing, and to be people who want to transform the wrongs of the world into the rights. We follow the story this